Hello, this is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. Today is another edition of Things Feminists Say, Part 5. I feel like there's probably going to be a part affinity one of these days because they'll never stop saying stupid things. And remember, think before you speak. Try looking at all the angles before you go off half-cocked. Not that women really have a cock, but you know. So, we got a couple of articles today. I have 3 wonderful articles that are worth exploring of the stupid shit that feminists say. I think I solved the problem from last time. I think it's a plugin I'm using that's causing a glitch, so I can't use it right now. Hopefully I can find a solution to it, but we'll just have to kind of look at the boring stuff. All right, so let's start the screen share. Okay, before we get started, yes, I'm shilling, but this time I'm doing it for someone else, so it's not as selfish. This is my really good friend, Shannon. She needs a stair lift. You might know her as Liberal Lunacy or LL Shannon on Twitter. She is a fantastic person who really needs help, like I needed help. Like me, she's disabled, except that she's been disabled all of her life. And she's tried all other avenues to resolve this issue, and she's unable to. She's in a wheelchair, and she needs to be carried up and down the stairs. So anything you can give. Now, she's got $40 now. She needs $5,000. And if 1,000 people visit her site and just give $5, I mean, what? That's like one small coffee at Starbucks. Can you go one day without coffee? If you can, please give to her. Because if 1,000 people give $5 to her, she meets her goal. And this really helps out a person who needs it. So even if you can only give $1, that is something. And I know firsthand that that is something, because $1 for someone who can't work like me means a lot of money. And it really adds up. So that's enough shilling for Shannon. Okay, so let's start with our first article. Why yes can mean no. Inspired by the recent performance of the vagina monologues at the CMC. Mad Cat? No? Okay. This piece is part of a series of forum articles by women at the CMC about women and sexuality. Check out the first piece in the series here. Not going to, but thank you for trying. All right, let me minimize this so hopefully some people can chat. If you're in the chat room, just go ahead and say something and I'll try to read your remark. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of read through this here and then, react as I normally do. And let's see. Jordan. Let's pretend Jordan's a female, or if not, a male feminist. Either way, I'm going to use my female voice. And also, I'm not really feeling very well right now. I'm really wanting to do this because I've got 3 articles and I want to get past them so I can do other things. So my head's hurting a little bit, so I don't know how long I'm going to last today, but we'll get through it. All right. It started with the consent is sexy. But of course, there's no point in that. It was like saying rape is just bad sex instead of a felony. Then there was consent is mandatory. It was much better, reminding us that sex is consensual and everything else is rape. But then there was me, after a party in a man's dorm room, and there was this, is this okay? If we're being legal about this, I said yes. No coercion, no imminent threat of violence, no inebriation. Well, not a lot anyway. So that would be a form of inebriation, you stupid bitch. According to feminists, even one tiny drop of alcohol is inebriation for women. Let me continue. But what I want to talk about is what was happening before I said yes. Who taught me to say yes? Why I thought it was better to say yes when I really meant no. If you fucking meant no, you should have said no. Gee, what a novel concept. I want to say no to something, so I'm going to say yes. But it's still wrong for everyone else but me. My God, can you be this stupid? I'm already angry and I just got past the first paragraph. My God, look how long this fucking thing is. And I'm already pissed off. You know, I try to hold back sometimes, but my God. Oh, Let me continue. Hold on, let me check something real quick. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, if you're trying to contact me on Skype, I can't see it right now. So, oh well. All right. The type of feminist I'm trying to talk about isn't easy to swallow. Well, maybe you should be spitting instead of swallowing. Just an observation. It wouldn't be included in the next vagina monologues, or Jezebel won't write an article about it. But if feminism means anything to me, it means no longer being alone when I am hurt. So what, are you wanting group sex here? I mean, you already said that you meant to say no when you said yes. Do you want someone to be there with you? Do you want to have a three-way? Because there was an article I read not too long ago about a girl who, a guy who got kicked out when he had a three-way with two girls, and the other girl said that the other girl was into it, and he still got kicked out of college. So I don't know what additional girl would have done for you in the situation of having sex. Probably confirm that you got raped because you regretted it later. In my conversation with fellow feminists, well, there's your first problem, women of color, queer people, and other members of organizing communities. Organizing communities? So did you also talk with anti-feminists, men's rights alliance, or what is that? See, my mind's already going. MRA, men's human right movement, humanists. Let's see, who else? The Republican Party, the Democrat Party. I mean, those technically are organizing communities, right? I seriously doubt it given the list she already gave us. These are some of the conclusions that I've come to about what happened that night when I said yes, when I meant no, that you're a fucking moron. I mean, I don't even have to read the rest of this to tell you that you're a fucking moron. If you meant to say no, you should have said no. That is no one else's fault but your own. Don't try to scapegoat this on anyone else. This is your fault. Now, if you had said no and they continued to have sex with you, you would have a case. But you said yes. That meant it was consent. Regretting it later doesn't mean it's rape. You little fucking cunt harpy. Depending on who you are, it might sound ridiculous. Why would anyone ever say yes when they mean no? Because you're a moron. Honesty is important to any relationship, sexual or otherwise. You seem to be contradicting yourself. Besides, the legal definition in the state of California states rape is an act of sexual intercourse when a person's incapable of... Oh, please finish your statement. I'm excited to know what the definition of rape is. Why start something and not finish it? Oh, did you not want to do it when you started? Is that why you're stopping now? Honestly, there's a lot more to it than that for me. Well, if you don't even finish it, how can we know where the problem's at? At 5, relatives used to kiss my cheeks even as I winced and turned away. Oh my God, you must be the only person who had to deal with that. Oh my God, you were raped at 5 years old because people kissed you on the cheek. And not just people, but relatives. You're like that one girl who's like, my family raped me. At the tender age of 12, I was taught that my bra straps and thighs deserved attention because they distracted boys at school. Really? You got detention for that? I'm sure there was more to it than that. But even then, if you are, 100% honest, which I doubt given, how insane you are, I will agree that that was wrong. If that actually happened word for word for what you're saying, that is wrong. At 16, my boyfriend assured me that most girls like this. I just needed to relax. Okay, so he coerced you into sex. I mean, if you had said no and he said, well, I want you to do it anyways, okay, there's a rape, there's a cause for rape. Funny, you're not talking about that issue versus when you said yes, even though honesty is important to any relationship, sexual or otherwise. These incidents, so at 20, in someone's room after a party, no was scary and unfamiliar to me. Well, okay, at 5, you should have known the word no, but you would also know that adults are going to kiss children, whether they want to or not. It happens to everyone. At 12, I mean, how is that an issue of saying no? No, I don't want to go to a detention. Sometimes you go to detention for stupid reasons. Get over yourself. You grew up and you're fine. And it's not like you were raped at school and then got detention. At 16, okay, that might have been a time to say no. If you didn't say no and you instead said yes, despite being pressured into it, that's again your fault. These are not incidences that tell me that you were forced to say yes in every single situation or that it prohibits you from learning the word no. You're just looking for a scapegoat, saying that you're not in control of your consent, which means that you are mentally insane and unable to give consent on anything, and you should have a parent take a power of attorney over you since you're unable to give consent, you stupid whore. By the way, if you're watching now and you want to chat and say something in the chat box, I'll try to read it. Okay, let us get through this. It feels good to get angry sometimes. Okay, these incidents, unfortunately, are not unique to me. In discussing this experience with friends, we coined the term raped by rape culture, oh dear Lord, to describe what it was like to say yes, coerced by culture that had raised us and the system of power that worked on us, and to still want no. I'm sorry, but that's just fucking bullshit. It really is. You are responsible for your own actions. Unless you were actually brainwashed. Someone strapped you to a chair and, did a Clockwork Orange situation on you that taught you that every time you said no, you would feel physically sick. If you told me that's what happened to you in your life, I could possibly believe this raped by rape culture. But don't for 1 minute insult any rape victims by saying that you couldn't say no when you said yes. That is fucking bullshit. That is fucking disrespectful to every man, woman, and child that has ever been raped. You should slap yourself in the face with a door for how stupid you are. Sometimes for me, there was an obligation from already having gone back to someone's room, not wanting to ruin a good friendship, loneliness, worry that no one would ever be interested, a fear that if I said no, they might stop the influence. They might not stop the influence of alcohol, and understanding that hookups are supposed to be fun. Again, you're responsible in that situation if you say no. I mean, what's the point of consent if yes means yes, if you can just say that you didn't mean to say yes and it's still rape? How is someone supposed to know that's not what you want? Tell me, you tell me, how is someone supposed to know that you mean no when you say yes? That's why there's those specific laws, which are bullshit to begin with, because not all consent is verbal. But even if we want to say that consent has to be verbal, then why are you the exception? Why should we walk on eggshells around you? Oh, do you want to have sex? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't have sex with you because you just said yes. That really means no. Okay, then no, I don't want to have sex. Well, see, you just confirmed it. You don't want to have sex. You just said yes and no. I mean, those are the two choices, and both of them mean the same thing. No. You see how stupid and illogical that is? For me, and many others like me, consent isn't easy. Yeah, you seem to misunderstand the grasp of yes and no, so I can see where the confusion's at. Yes doesn't always mean yes, and we misplaced no several years ago. The experience isn't random, but disproportionately affects oppressed communities. Consent is a privilege, but it was built for wealthy, heterosexual, cis, white, Western, able-bodied masculinity. You fucking whore! You fucking fucked up piece of shit, cunt, smelly. I'm just so fucking angry. You're attacking me directly because you can't muster up a no? That's fucking your responsibility. Don't be blaming this on someone else, especially being a sexist bigot, because that's all you are. You know, for 1 minute, I thought you were insane and somehow you couldn't be responsible, but you just crossed a line. You fucking crossed a line. You want to blame it on an unknowable that you can't see, but you believe is out there, and that way you can't ever be fucking responsible for your fucking actions, and it's always someone else's fault. It's always rape with you, isn't it? Anytime a man looks at you, it's rape. And if there's someone to blame, it's the wealthy, heterosexual, cis, white, Western, able-bodied masculinity. You fucking stupid cunt! How dare you exist? How dare you even breathe the same fucking air as the rest of us? You don't deserve existence. And I'm not threatening you in any way. I'm just saying that I wish people like you didn't exist. But you're going to exist. And there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing any of us can do about that. Because you are a fucking clone of all the other modern feminists in this fucking world. You don't deserve the privilege of breathing the air that I breathe. Why don't you go to a real fucking college and get a real fucking education, you stupid, pink-haired bimbo? Because that's all you fucking are. When society has taught some of us to take up as little space as possible, yeah, right. Women take up a lot of space. They just don't think they'd have any. They think they have to fight for every space they get. But trust me, people bend over backwards to help women. It happens to me even now. To take all attention as flattery and to be truly grateful that anyone at all could want our bodies or love. It isn't always our choice to say yes. It is always your choice to say yes. Look up the dictionary definition of consent. You always say, look up the dictionary definition of feminism. Look up the dictionary definition of consent. Consent as a privilege doesn't just happen in sex. Oh, wow, that's news to me. Not really, but oh my God. It happens for those of us who give too much in friendships without knowing how to ask for reciprocation, who let doctors touch us in ways that are triggering because we don't want to make trouble, who dance with handsy strangers because our friends already left the party. Then you fucking leave the party, you stupid cunt. Oh, wait, why is it doing this? Okay. Oh, all right, where was I? Who um who stick around in toxic relationships because we don't know if we're allowed to expect better. Also your fault. Unless that person's being abusive, then you have some sort of defense there. But if the person is not being physically or emotionally abusive, and I mean those in the strictest terms, not in the feminist terms, then you have a way out. You can just break up with a person. And if you're really scared, go to the fucking police. When you're poor, disabled, queer, non-right, trans, or feminine, no isn't for you. Well, here's a kicker for you. I'm poor, I'm disabled, I am white, and I'm not feminine, but two out of that list. And you know what? No! Did you not hear it? No! Oh my God. Am I saying no? Oh my God. I can say no. Oh, this is a miracle. No! See how easy that is? It's a lot easier than say yes. No. No, no, no. No, 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 no. No. Huh. I don't know what your problem is. I can easily say no, and you've talked about two of the things on there that I am. I don't mean to insist that every person oppressed in these systems of power can't have empowering consensual experiences, and I know many who do, except you seem to be unable to do it. What I do mean to say is that for me, finding no is a process. Consent is elusive, and sometimes when people don't mean to, they hurt me. That's your own fault for not letting them know they're hurting you. So, if consent isn't just sexy, quippy slogans on tank tops or boob shaped cupcakes, what happens next? First, we have to realize that all oppression is connected and all rape is racist. Wait, rape is racist? What? Oh, okay, she's listing things. And all rape is racist, classist, ableist, patriarchal, hetero, and cis sexist. So, what about when a woman has sex with a woman? Is she then able to give consent? Why are you attacking heterosexuality? We cannot make a sense available to all if we're not simultaneously disrupting these structures. Next, we have to stop trying to squash the variety of experience of coercion into one affirmative consent law. Okay, how about yes means yes? Oh my God, there's already a law like that in California. How about this? No means no. We give you permission to say no. Speaking as the white, cis, heterosexual ish, masculine man, I'm mostly masculine, of the patriarchy, which doesn't exist, I hereby give you permission to say no. Now, let me wave my magical wand, which is really just my pen that I keep chewing on the cap. Abracadabra, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Oh my God, you now have the ability to say no. And all it took was, complete bullshit on my part. And if it was just that easy, that means you could have done it this whole time. Oh my God. What's that? I hear the angels singing. Hallelujah. 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 And if it sounds like I'm patronizing you, I am. All right, let's kind of go through this because I mean it's still going through. I'm almost done, but I really don't want to finish this. If you're still struggling with, but she didn't say no, or believe that rape only happens in alleys at late at night, or even that rape is only way consent is violated, you aren't here yet. Here is where consent is woven into the fabric of our daily lives. So you're upset that men don't find you as attractive as you think you are, but then upset that when you tell men that you want to have sex with them, that they are forcing you to have sex. Do you see the flaw in your logic? Because I see it. I see it clear as day. Okay, here's where beginning in childhood we get to decide what happens to our bodies. Oh, are you familiar with male? What is it? Male genital mutilation. Are you familiar with that? Because men don't get to decide what happens to their body. Oh, I'm sure you're going to say, well, I care about men's issue too. Not really, if you're this stupid to think that it's a man's fault because you said yes, or it's anyone else's responsibility other than your own. You don't care about anyone but yourself. You're a selfish, prissy cunt. It is where the ways we express gender on our bodies and never question. It is where body integrity, personal space, and emotional well being are prioritized over property. This is not an exhaustive list, and here's anywhere we can imagine radical spaces of agency and self determination for individuals in the communities they belong to. Blah, blah, blah. You're basically saying nothing. I'm certainly not here yet, and I can't get here alone. I have to negotiate finding no for myself while also being there for people doing the same thing and apologizing when I cannot, when I replicate harm that was done to me. If you're trying to find no, believe me, you're not alone. If you know where someone is trying to find no, support them. If you don't allow someone else to have no, do better. I know it's hard. Consent is really hard. But if we love each other, if we are in fact a community, then it's mandatory. Okay, you're a moron. You're a fucking moron. Yes doesn't mean no, because no means no. Yes means you want to. No means you don't want to. It's that simple. If you can't bring yourself to say yes, then that's your own fault. Go get psychological help, psychiatric help. Damn, I'm already 30 minutes on just this one article. Okay, well written. Thanks for this writing. Really? Or are you being sarcastic? This is beautiful. Thank you for so much for sharing. Seriously? Are you being sarcastic? This is so beautiful and so perfect. More pieces like this, please. Are you being sarcastic? Articles like this are ridiculous. Rape is a serious crime, one that can have severe, life changing repercussions for anyone involved. Consensual sex is, and one would hope you'd know this by now, obviously a very different thing, and young women apparently need to know the difference. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a jerk off fest between feminists. Okay, so let me try to get through these next articles quickly. I apologize for that. That just really pissed me off. Okay, so this article, sex discrimination commissioner calls on men to champion women's rights. So is sex discrimination commissioner going to call on women to champion men's rights? Maybe, maybe not. Australia's sex discrimination. Here, let me enlarge this for you. Hopefully now you can see. Again, if you want to chat, just go into the chat there and I'll try to read your comments. Australia's yeah, I already read that. Okay. So let me point out some interesting parts. Powerful said on Thursday that the only way to create a change in patriarchal society, which doesn't exist, was by powerful and decent men stepping up to take the message of gender equality and the women's leadership to other men. Well, if there's such a thing as patriarchy, then why would powerful men go against the patriarchy? Doesn't that seem silly to you? During a public conversation with journalist and Summers in Sydney, Broderick singled out workplaces as key side of gender inequality, highlighting the lack of women in leadership roles, the pay gap, sexual harassment, and the role of companies in tackling domestic violence. According to some research I've seen, more women are in management positions in Australia than this would have you believe. Broderick called domestic violence the most significant gender equality issue in the world. Okay, what does that have to do with business? In the first 4 months of 2015, it's estimated that 34 Australian women have died at the hands of intimate partners or former partners. Again, what does that have to do with businesses? Until recently, Broderick found companies adverse to discussing domestic violence. I could speak on sexual harassment, but the minute I talk about domestic violence, it's like, whoa, that's a private matter between him and her. Well, generally, yes, and if it's bad enough, it gets the police involved. This has nothing to do with businesses. Here, let me put this into perspective for you. Take a look at this chart. It's workplace deaths by industry. Now, of course, it's not measuring every single industry, but just the like really major ones. Okay, so we've got 2013, 2014. I think this was left in by mistake from last year, and the total deaths of 2015. 2013, 186. 2014, 185. And so far, and this was as of April 29th, 2015, 51 Australian workers have been killed while at work. Now let's take a look at this number again. 34 Australian women have died at the hands of intimate partner violence. Oh my God, are you saying that companies should not focus on work-related deaths? I mean, we're at 51 here. 51 worker-related deaths. And this feminazi is telling us to focus on intimate partner violence in the workplace? I mean, it's not even happening on work grounds. So why should they take time and resources away from, things that concern businesses, such as work-related deaths, and focus on something that has nothing to do with businesses, such as intimate partner violence? That's like telling a shoe company to write a safety report on underwater drilling. They'd have no idea how to do that. That's not in their job description. That's not what they do. They would have no concept of it. They're a shoe company. They make shoes. Why should they have anything to do with offshore underwater drilling? And even then to write a safety report on it. And that's what we're saying here, that businesses should be concerned about intimate partner violence. I mean, they should be mindful of it. Maybe they should do some donation and charities for it, but not be directly involved in it. This is asinine. In 2010, the commissioner launched Male Champions of Change, a group of 23 leaders and chief executives committed to improving gender equality, and included the Chief of Army, David Morrison, and CEO of Testra, David Thodey. Broderick invited blah, 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 blah. Some members of the group have introduced paid domestic violence leave. Are you fracking kidding me? I mean, I don't know how Australia works, but here in America, we have something called FMLA. It's not perfect. It's, fucked up, but it's something. And I'm probably certain that Australia has something similar to Family Medical Leave Act. And if they don't, okay, but maybe you should develop something like that rather than paid domestic violence leave. Because I bet you anything that only applies to women. That if a man complains of that, they'll just say, well, sorry, the policy doesn't cover men. But it's not sexist because men cannot be victims of domestic violence. And implemented policies that allow domestic abuse survivors to change telephone numbers and workplace locations. Okay, I don't know what businesses have to do with telephone numbers. Maybe they do things different in Australia. If someone in Australia is watching this, please explain this to me because this makes no absolute sense to me. Workplace locations, I can sort of understand, but I mean, if you're still working for the same company, oh, I just kind of seems silly. I mean, maybe they do things different in Australia. I mean, if it was here in the United States and they decided to relocate someone to a different state, I could understand that. But it seems like the business is responsible for changing their identity to protect them. That's the job of the police, not a corporation. So men in this company have to work hard so some woman who should have gone to the police in the first place went to her company instead to get protection. Does that seem like logical to you? And yes, women are also working for it too, but it's a system that only benefits women most likely. Someone is welcome to contradict me on that and show me evidence that supports men as well, but I mean, this is supposedly supporting women's rights, not men's rights. Okay, more bold in the collective. Let's see. This open up things for female speakers to step up, be seen, and therefore start building their profile. So getting women more promoted faster, I guess. So basically affirmative action for women, which is also bullshit. You got to put the right person in the job. You shouldn't base it on gender. And that's more insulting to gender rights than anything by keeping a quota. And then talking about the 18.8% pay gap, which has been disproven, at least in the United States and Europe. I don't know about Australia, but it's reason to believe that if most of the first world countries that there is no pay gap, I stand to reason that it's also true for Australia. Someone's welcome to quote me on this. So more about the pay gap, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to read these comments. All right, so our last article for the day, and hopefully I can get this done before the 1 hour mark. So let's rush through this. Leaked email from Marvel CEO is listicle. Listicle? Is a listicle? About why women can't be superheroes by Jessica Goldstein. Well, time for my female voice again. Just a few weeks ago, WikiLeaks published more than 30,000 documents from Sony hack, the huge release of confidential data by cyber criminals who targeted Sony Pictures late last year. So you're benefiting from something that was done illegally? I mean, I understand WikiLeaks and all of that. That's kind of what they do. But this was done by people in, North Korea? The result, a massive searchable archive of 30,287 documents. As Women in Hollywood reported on Monday, one of these leaked emails was an exchange between Marvel CEO and Sony CEO. In the email dated August 7th, 2014, with the subject line female movies, it appears to explain to other why a female critic-centric superhero movie is bad business idea. Well, wait a minute. That's not what the title said. The title said that women can't be superheroes. This is saying why it's a bad business idea. These are two different concepts. This is discrimination based on gender. This is a marketing discussion. This is a business discussion on what generates good money. You see the difference there? No? Okay, let's continue on. Michael, as we discussed on the phone, below are a few examples. There are more. Thanks, Ike. Electra, very bad idea, and the end result was very, very bad. Catwoman. Catwoman was the one of the most important female characters within the Bat franchise. This film was a disaster. Supergirl. Supergirl was one of the most important superhero in the Superman franchise. Actually, I think she was kind of the only one, but don't quote me on that. I don't read Superman. This movie came out in 1984 and did 14 million in total domestics with opening of 5.5 million. Again, another disaster. Wow. Does it only take 3 poorly executed and badly received examples to prove a person a certain gender can't star in a certain kind of movie? Well, no. Do you remember up here where he said, below are just a few examples, there are more. So clearly you haven't read the email either. Here is a list of lousy, unsuccessful superhero movies starring men in interest of gender equality. This list also includes the 1984 as its starting line. Superman, The Quest for Peace, only made 15 million domestically and has a 12% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Gets included on the list like worst film ever. Well, okay, but the thing is that Superman 4 was the fourth in a series of movies that range from very successful to moderately successful. This is the fourth movie. Let's see. Well, Elektra was technically a second movie. So was Catwoman, but they were films unto themselves. I don't think Catwoman really continued the story from Batman Returns. Someone quote me on that, but I don't think it did. So, okay, we'll talk as a independent by itself film compared to the rest of the franchise. Elektra was sort of a sequel to the Matt Damon, which was a bad movie by itself. So they reproduced a bad movie from a bad movie. So there you go. And Supergirl, it was in 1984. I mean, I don't know what to say about that one. It just didn't do as well as it should have. Okay, Batman and Robin. Well, same thing. It was the last in a long series of movies. It started with the dark, edgy Tim Burton films, and after Joe Schumacher's with Val Kilmer, which I liked, by the way. I know I'm the only one, but I liked it. It transferred into more of the cartoony Adam West Batman with Batman and Robin. But there were, other films leading up to that were successful, and that's why it got made. It's not like I don't even know why Elektra got made, in all honesty, given how bad Daredevil was. But they must have been trying to tap into the female market, which wasn't enough to make this film a success. And you can't blame it on bad writing. I agree. I haven't really seen it, so I don't really know. But, it did badly. It wasn't enough for women to go out there to support it. So, maybe you should be asking women, why weren't these films successful? Why didn't we go out there and say, you know what, this movie sucks, but we need more movies out there like this. So we're encouraging all women to go out there and pay money for this, so they'll take more interest in producing good films, because that's how marketing works. That's how business works. If you show businesses such as, producers in Hollywood, that there's a need out there, they will correspond to that. They will try to give you what you want, but they don't know unless they're looking at sales. And all they can be based on is what's happened in the past. Daredevil, we've already talked about. Superman Returns, I can't really talk about this because I haven't seen it. I've heard bad things about it and some bad things. Green Hornet, I saw. I agree, it was a horrible movie. I was trying really, really too hard. Green Lantern. I thought Green Lantern had promise, and it was somewhat good until about the middle of the film, and it kind of just went downhill for me there. His cherry pick list. Oh, you mean your list is not cherry picked? Your list is obviously cherry picked. Are patently absurd and irrelevant. It's hard to know where to begin with pointing out how pointless they are in determining the bankability of female superheroes. But let's start with Supergirl. Premiered in 1984, literally 30 years before this email was sent. What point does that have? What point does it have? I mean, all of these movies came out before that email was sent. So what does that have to do anything with when it was made? Okay, Hunger Games. Okay, Hunger Games is not a superhero movie. It's a survival suspense movie and a little bit of horror elements added in there, but it's more of a political movie. In no way is it a superhero movie. Okay, Divergent. I haven't seen Divergent, but you know, I saw an article where the star of the film said it's not a superhero movie. The fucking star of the movie said it's not a superhero movie, so you can't include it as a superhero movie. And then you release Twilight. Is that stupid girl somehow a superhero? I doubt it. Latest batch of X-Men films, well, they're not predominantly female superheroes. Yes, female superheroes are in there, but I mean, that doesn't even compare with what that list up there is talking about. It's like you're not even really, oh my God. But you know what? Well, first off, let's do this. Here are the 100 superhero movies and how they grossed. So let's look at the bottom of the list. Now, this list over here doesn't really tell us anything. It goes up to 104. Orgasmo did so poorly. It's sad to hear. That's such a great movie. Okay, so Barbed Wire, prominent female character. Tank Girl, prominent female character. Sheena, prominent female character. Powerpuff Girls movie, prominent female character. Supergirl, prominent female character. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, prominent female character. Are we noticing a pattern here? My Super Ex-Girlfriend. You know, it is a prominent superhero character. However, she is sharing screen time with Luke Wilson. Is that his name? Elektra, prominent female character. Kick-Ass 2. Well, it is shared, but more was focused on Mindy or Hit Girl in that movie. Catwoman, prominent female character. Did a lot better than I thought. First Kick-Ass film. Blade Trinity, sort of. I mean, we keep going up and up and up, and what do we notice? Male-dominated films. People are going out and watching this. Wow, this just changed. These two were like neck and neck with each other, so Age of Ultron. This must be updating on like an hourly basis. So Avengers, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, Iron Man 3, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man 2, Man of Steel, The Amazing Spider-Man, The Incredibles. Well, you know, Stretch Girl did share a lot of the movie with her husband, so it was kind of split. The Winter Soldier, Batman, Age of Ultron, The Last Stand, Days of Future Past. I mean, are we noticing a pattern here? Do I have to beat you over the head? You know, if you want more female films out there, when they come out, as rare as they are, encourage women to see them. But you know what? Let's take this one step further. And we're coming up close to an hour, so I'm going to try to hurry through this. Okay, so the first on our list was Elektra. Now, it had a budget of 43 million, had a box office of 56.7 million. Well, I wouldn't really say that's a failure, but let's do some quick math here. It's not going to allow me to do that. Oh, well. So, okay, we're just going to say that this is a success, but it looks like it only had like a 40% profit based on its box office budget. Okay, so the next movie was Catwoman. Catwoman. Budget of 100 million. Box office 82.1 million. Failure. Okay. Supergirl. 35 million, only got 14. Failure. Okay. Let's look at so Elektra was a success. Catwoman and Supergirls were box office failures. So it's not really fair to say that Elektra was a lot of people didn't like it, but you know, it was technically a success. It wasn't a huge success, which is what movie producers are always looking for. Now, Superman, Quest for Peace. So, John Cryer was in that. 17 million, only made 15.6 million. Failure. Okay, I'll give that one to you. It was a failure, even though it was in a long series of profitable movies. Batman and Robin. That has to be a failure, right? Bat nipples. Batman and Robin. Batman and Dracula. That's an interesting combination. Bow chicka bow wow. 140 million, box office 238. Oh my God, it was actually a success. And as bad as the film was, it was actually a success. Must be a lot of George Clooney fans out there. Okay, Daredevil. Oh, that definitely has to be a failure, right? Oh, there we go. Still need to see the series, but I don't have Netflix, so 78 made 179. So that was actually a success by over 100 million. Are we noticing a new pattern here? I'm not going to look at the others. I don't want to waste your time, but we're getting a pattern here. This person doesn't actually understand what's being said here. It's not saying that women can't be superheroes. It's saying that female-centric superhero movies do poorly. You even said it yourself that it's bad business idea. You wrote this, not them. You understand what's going on and you're choosing to be ignorant so you can make a hit piece. The facts are here. Now, is it possible for a successful female superhero film? I imagine there is. It's just one hasn't been made yet. Now, we could play a little bit of gambler's fallacy and say that one is due to actually be good sooner or later. The more bad ones we make, the more chances we have for a good one. I think that's certainly a possibility. And we need better writers out there writing for these. But the problem is that we need to convince Hollywood that this is something we need. And writing a hit piece like that, where you don't even seem to understand basic marketing principles, that tends to suggest that you're a moron. I mean, you're not even making any sense. You're comparing apples and oranges here. You're taking three poorly done movies that did poorly at the box office. Even though Elektra can be considered a success, it's not as much of a success as some of these movies down here. Now, yes, Superman 4 did badly, but it was the fourth movie in a series. Batman and Robin was the fourth in a series and was successful. Daredevil, yeah, it was bad. It was very bad. Everyone knows who Daredevil is by the end. What's the point of wearing the mask? And it just tried emulating what was already being done at that time. Superman Returns, can't comment on. Green Hornet was bad. Green Lantern, well, it was fair. So you have no idea what you're talking about, honestly. And I will say, I wish there were more female superhero films of actual superheroes and not these Mary Sues that feminists seem to want. Actual characters, real characters. Anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thank you for hanging out with me. Be sure to comment below. And this is Mad Cat signing off.